You made it! Woohoo! The end of the book, chapter 12. Super excited. Super excited. You have done a lot this semester. You should be very proud of yourself. Chapter 12 is not a particularly difficult chapter. It's really a lot of conclusions and kind of wrapping things up. We're going to be looking at the final steps of the broad model, steps 5 and 6. In step 5, what we're going to be doing is critically analyzing the discipline's insight into the problem. So now that we've gathered that information and done that research, we're going to be analyzing that research to determine what we want to use and apply to the problem. We do that through 3 steps: identifying the key elements of each insight, organizing the information, and then critically analyzing it. Remember that, again, you have to be critical expert of the evidence. You have to look at it, make sure it's the right evidence that you're bringing forward. Again, here, your book has some great examples of that. You'll find those on pages 316 through 322. Please use those as a guide to try to help you in doing your own assignments. And then we go on to step 6, which is the final step. And in here, what we do is we reflect on how interdisciplinary approach has enlarged your understanding of the problem. So now that I've used the interdisciplinary approach and looked at these different angles, what have I learned from the process? It's really important as we learn new information that we take the time to reflect. What did I learn? And how do I take this knowledge forward into new problems, into new horizons? So you also want to look at how did that research process help you in the perception of the problem? How does it look different through interdisciplinary eyes than disciplinary eyes? And how does it help you to help understand the problem as a whole? So if we were looking again at poverty of children in elementary schools in a certain city, how does that information apply to the bigger problem of poverty? Did I learn something here that could be applied into further or future research? And how can it be applied in the classroom? Here again, we have great examples, and they'll be found on pages 326 through 330. And, an example to kind of conclude with, I was thinking about today with interdisciplinary studies. I was actually thinking about your class, and I was driving, actually. I have a lot of thoughts when I'm driving. And it came up to me, I was thinking about when my grandmother passed away. When my grandmother passed away, I was really interested in some recipes that she used to have. And many of them had gotten lost or in the process, and we couldn't gather them back. And finally, I got some of them. And I was kind of excited to get these recipes. And when I got them, they were just a list of ingredients. That's it. Just a list of ingredients. No measurements. No idea what to do with them. Should I bake it? Should I boil it? Should I refrigerate it? I didn't know what to do. It was just a list of ingredients. Probably notes that she had taken. She cooked out of her head. She did many different things. And when I looked at that, I felt a little bit intimidated. I wanted very clear, precise directions as to what to do. A half a cup of this, a cup of that, a teaspoon of that. Tell me what to do with it. How long do I bake it for? What pan do I put it in? Tell me what to do. And that kind of reminds me of a discipline. A discipline is very clear directions. What to do, how it's done. You follow these instructions and then you get to the end result. But in interdisciplinary studies, it looks a whole lot more like this list of ingredients. We don't know what's going to be best. And probably it might be different person to person. And that was something I was remembering my grandma doing. She's like, well, this is the stuff in it. But it kind of depends on who I'm serving. Some people really like peppers. Some people don't like onions. So I kind of modify it based on what I'm doing. So this is the ingredients. You decide how you're going to do it. And I started to think, that makes better sense because, it might say a chicken, a whole chicken versus a half a chicken. Am I feeding 2 people? Am I feeding 5 people? All these things make a difference. But I wasn't confident enough in my 20s or early 20s to just take that list and go forward. But in my 40s, I was able to go back to that list of ingredients and go, I can do this now. I feel pretty confident. This is the stuff I need. It all goes into this pot, and I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do it and come up with something pretty good. Sometimes I might have to redo it, and don't get me wrong, we eat a lot of pizza around here because I don't always get it right. But I got the disciplines. I got the list of ingredients. I'm going to put it all in there. I'm going to come up with something different than those ingredients and something that matches my particular situation. So don't be afraid in interdisciplinary thinking to say, this is a really good discipline, but it doesn't really apply to children, or this doesn't really apply to elderly, or this doesn't really apply to this situation or that situation. Mix it up. Make the ingredients work for your problem the way you need to address it. good luck. I hope you have learned a lot from this class. I hope you move forward with it. I hope you have enjoyed it, and it's been great learning with you. Thanks so much for all your participation and everything you've given to the class.